Hello, everyone. It's Melanie Warner here with Defining Moments Press. I'm so excited today because we've got several authors that are launching their books. And if you've ever thought about writing your own book, maybe you've started, maybe you had an idea and you just kind of started twiddling around with it, but you never actually finished it. You're going to hear about what they did to actually get these books out of their heads and out of their hearts and into the hands of people like you. You're also going to hear their inspiring stories, not only about their book journey, but in their lives and like what compelled them to become an expert in their industry or somebody that can actually transform someone else's life. Like it's really fascinating to hear the journey of how people overcame something and then got into this position to help other people through that process. So I'm super excited to introduce you to them today. And without further ado, we're going to hop right in and hear a little bit more about each of them. My first guest today is our author, Tinsley English. Tinsley, thank you for being here today.
Hello, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, me too. Like this has been a whirlwind. We just met like basically what, almost not even 3 months ago, right?
Yeah, January. I believe it was late January.
And it's amazing. Here we are. You not only have your book done, you have it written, you have it launched. You're a best-selling author. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have your ebook out, and then today we're launching your print book. I know there's been big demand for this book. So tell us a little bit about you and a defining moment in your life.
Absolutely, Melanie. I have been in the business world for 25 years. I failed forward for most of my career and amassed countless number of lessons by really failing forward. So my defining moment was back in the fall at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a God wake up call, which I think a lot of us get those at 3 o'clock in the morning, where he said, Tinsley, now that you've got 25 years of experience under your belt in leadership, I really need you to take all those lessons and put them in a book and get them out to the women of the world. And I need you to get it to 1 million women by 2026. So not only a call to action to get a book together, but also to get it to a global audience, which seemed a little bit daunting, but I just put my faith in him that he will show me the way. So that was probably the biggest wake up call of my life and career. And it was definitely a defining moment.
That's amazing. Only 1 million? Come on, girl. You can do better
I
than
know
that.
a million seems
I'm just
small
kidding.
now.
I know, isn't that funny how you push yourself out of your comfort zone and then you go, why was I thinking so small? Like what? And yet there are some people that just say, I just want one person to read my book or 100 people to read my book. And the idea is that book can mean so much more because the book can get you booked on stages. It can get you booked on podcasts. It can get you, booked with clients and, getting on these calls with people that you can kind of walk them through this process of helping them out. So what has this done for you now that your book is out in this short amount of time? You got it done, you got it written, you got it launched. How has it elevated your business or your confidence?
It has definitely elevated my confidence in sharing the message. When we first met, we were both getting on stages to share our message with the world, and I don't think until the book was actually out into the world that I had the confidence to know that the speaking part on stages, it really is just about telling my story and telling the story of the amazing 14 other contributors that are in my book. These are women from all walks of life and all industries who are sharing insights and strategies of how to lead yourself and others with confidence. And that really is the principle of my book, Melanie, is to lead others, you must first learn to lead yourself. And I think that is just so important for not only seasoned managers, people that are already have teams, but also those emerging leaders, those Gen Z millennials that are out in the workforce, and they're looking to us, to my generation and the generation ahead of us, to show them and give them an instruction manual, which I really wish I had had this instruction manual coming through my career. So this instruction manual is really a gift to my younger self. It is filled with, like I said, stories from 14 other women. And it really is broken down into three parts. Can I share that with the group
Sure.
now? Okay, so the first thing that we do in the book is get into what your core values are, because I think that unless you know what your core values are, it's hard to align your core values with another organization. So we figure out what your core values are, and then we help you write a personal vision statement, which is kind of your personal elevator pitch, and it should give you tingles. It states to the world what you're here to do and what impact you're here to make. And then we take that personal vision statement and we break it down into short, medium, and long-term time frame. So that really is the start of the book. And you're working alongside while you're reading, you're using our companion workbook that is free for download. You're working through those exercises with me. And then we get into really what I call the G-force principle. That is the combination of grit, growth, and gumption. And so your audience might say, well, what is grit? Is it just rolling up your sleeves? It is more than that. It is staying in it for the long haul. It's figuring out how to do a comeback after a setback. And
It's
it's really
commitment. It's
resilience.
yeah, commitment, dedication, resilience. I love it. That's awesome. And I love the title. It's so catchy. Grit, growth, and gumption for women.
And the gumption part is something where women tend to struggle with. We will not apply for a job unless we know we have 99.9% of the credentials to do the job effectively. Whereas a man will, the studies have shown different statistics, but we're thinking 50% is what a man thinks he needs to have. So I really want people to lean into that gumption and that courage. And then finally, the growth piece. And that was really my Achilles heel as an emerging leader. I was a really great individual contributor and could get my job done very effectively. But when I went to show other people how to do that, I didn't let them bring room for innovation. I would just I told them exactly what to do. So once I figured out that I needed empathy as a leader and I needed to sharpen my emotional intelligence skills, that's really when the game changed for me. And this G-force principle came into fruition. So I share a lot with your group, but I really do want women to get excited that you do not need to go get a master's degree to show up as a confident leader to your team, whether that team is one person, whether that team is your children or aging parents. Everybody has that confident leader inside her. We just need to help bring it out.
I love it. And you're definitely the perfect person to help people do that because you've been able to do that for yourself as a wife and a mother. You're busy, you got a lot going on, girl, but you found a way to make this happen, give birth to this little book baby. And, my dad, when I was growing up, he used to tell me it takes a woman 9 months to have a baby. And no matter how hard they try, 9 women can't have a baby in a month. But my gosh, you gave birth to this baby in 9 weeks. Like this was amazing. So good job. Very proud of you. You can tell that you just took massive action and just made it happen. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience about your journey?
I would just say don't lean on the principle as a leader thinking that hard work is enough. You need to do that deep digging within yourself to really draw out who you are as a person. So that's really one thing I'd like to leave the audience with. And also my call to action today, if you go on Amazon and buy a copy of my book, you can email me at tinsley@gforcecode.com and I will give you a free mini coaching session, a one-on-one session. There is also a free toolkit available on my website, which is a 21-day journal prompts and a mini assessment of grit, growth, and gumption that you can download for free on my website. So you can start to flex those leadership muscles.
I love it. So we're going to put those links below for your website and your email. So you guys take advantage of that today. Tinsley's going to give her personal time to you. Like that's worth so much when you look at her experience and what she's been through. Tinsley, thank you so much for just sharing yourself and your experience and your own grit, growth, and gumption with the world. We're super excited to share this with people and really motivated to help you and inspire you to reach 1 million people. You're on your way. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Melanie. This is so exciting to stay. My friend says you share it from pages to stages, which is absolutely what I do, is sharing this with a large audience of women who are ready to just ignite and go.
Absolutely. And so not only do you do coaching and consulting mentorship, but you also do public speaking. So if you need a keynote speaker for any of your events, motivational speaker, trainer, Tinsley has a wealth of knowledge and experience in those areas as well, has a full speaker kit, speaker reel available, and all of that is also available on her website. So make sure you reach out to her, take advantage of this incredible offer, and get a copy of her book, but more importantly, buy it for someone else. Graduation is coming up, right? Graduation. This is an amazing gift to give a daughter, someone going off to college, starting their career, or somebody that's in transition, that's going through a big life change that really just needs that motivation and a warm community to plug into and stay motivated and inspired. So congratulations, Tinsley. Very, very proud
Thank
of
you,
you.
Melanie, for all of your help.
Oh, absolutely. And good luck to your daughter today. I know you're at your daughter's golf tournament, so I'm
Yes,
rooting for her as well. We just
go
played
Cats.
golf this weekend. I was on the golf team in high school. Love it. It's my favorite sport to play. So good luck to her, and we'll be thinking about her. So let us know how she did, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you, Tinsley. All right. Now I'm going to bring up Lewis Roden. Lewis, come on up. Let's see. I'm going to have you unmute. There you are. Hey,
There
Lewis.
I am. Hi, Melanie. How are you?
I am good. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Well, now I'm just blessed that you're here because you are a traveling man. You're all over the world. Like every time I talk to you,
I'm
you're
in
in a different
Texas right now, so yeah.
Oh, I'll be there this week. So you're
Yeah,
fun. You're like, wow, you're actually in the same continent as me. Maybe not the same state,
that's
but like
rare. That's rare. Yeah.
you are traveling a lot. So tell us a little bit about your journey and also a defining moment in your life.
Wow. So many different stories to tell. It's I'll tie it into what I'm currently doing here though in Texas because I had this I love to do things where we get an opportunity to give back. And it's a piece within my book as well, but as you may know, I'm sure you read the book, Mel, that I grew up a severe stutterer, and I actually used sign language through fourth grade. I was almost completely mute. And I work with several fluency stuttering organizations now, and one of them, Yuri Schneider, is the gentleman's name who runs this global agency. And he was here, and I worked with him and his team this weekend. And to think now that I present for a living and I speak on stage for a living, and I was the kid who ran out of the room when you had to read a paragraph in grade school. And it's great therapists like Yuri and other therapists that I've been able to work with in order to be fluent. So I think overcoming my stutter is certainly a watershed moment. I still stutter every sentence I talk. I just hide it well. I strategically use ums and little filler words and things like that. And being able to help other people with their fluency as well, I think is important to me. So it really helps me drive what I do around the world. I mean, I'm not a speech therapist. Um, as you know, I consult on leadership and I consult on guest experience and guest service. I've been in the hotel industry for over 20 years. I started my own company in 2008 after 8 years as an executive with Starwood Hotels and Resorts. So, that global footprint has been remarkable, but I never want to forget all those things we have to overcome, especially in our childhood or even in our adulthood. And those challenges make up the content of the person that we are today, which I think is really, really important.
I love that. Such a personal reason to be behind everything that you're doing. And it's amazing to me to even think about you being that person who would run out of the room when they had to speak, right? Like, or read, because you're such a great speaker and communicator, and you've made a really good living as a communicator, traveling as a keynote speaker all over the world, doing trainings, working in hospitality. And I love the fact that you worked in as an executive at that company, and then you came out on your own as like being your own boss, working for
Scary,
yourself
scary.
and turning
With
them into a client.
Oh my God, crazy scary. And that was in 2008, Melanie. It was at least before COVID, the worst economy ever.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
was scared every day. And I think you get rushed from that though, right? I tell people that are in their ruts, I'm like, you've got to be scared again. You're not scared anymore. Every Monday, every Wednesday looks the same. And you got to put yourself out. And that's what the book did for me. Because as you said before, I was writing this book for years,
Mhm.
and it never really got anywhere. And yeah, COVID was a little push because, had time on my hands. But then
Yeah.
you and your team were the push that I really needed to get to get that across, right? Because as I think I shared with you, I started to get a little exasperated when every one of my clients would say, "Oh, great. Hey, do you have a book?" I'm like, "No." Okay.
And I remember you had somebody that asked to buy 1,000 copies of your
Yeah.
book and you didn't have a book.
So I'm selling
Louis.
books for Simon Sinek. I'm selling books for all these great leadership guys. So I'm giving out their books, and I'm
Mhm.
like, wait a minute, it's time for me to, give out my book.
And you're
Right?
buying those books and giving them
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So really making sure we capture those salient messages on leadership, because that's what I
Mhm.
do, right?
Yeah.
And it really piggybacks off what Tinsley talked about a bit about, that leader's in everybody. And if you improve yourself as a leader, it's not just a work thing, right? You improve yourself as a neighbor, a spouse, a parent, a son, a daughter, right? Because all those things that we talk about, and I love when I work with these executive groups, and when we talk about all these things that we talk about are rooted in emotion. When we talk about self-management, self-awareness, building trust, actively demonstrating respect, right? Mutual accountability, all these things, very few of these things are rooted in intellect. So all these people are very smart, and sometimes they've been really, really effective managers. How do we demystify leadership for people, right? And
Yeah,
that's what
because
the
it's
book's
such a
about.
gray area, like marketing. People are like, what does that really mean? And leadership has always been loosely defined by so many different people. So
Yep.
how would you define leadership based on, obviously your book's about leadership, but from your perspective, where you're at right now in the industry, how would you define leadership?
Well, leadership, first of all, is about relationships. You've got to develop relationships with people. And that's why that's the name of the book, right? Everything is personal. We really turned around, thank you. We
There's
turned
the
around this,
book.
this old idea when people say, oh, it's business. It's not personal. That's nonsense. 80% of your waking life is spent doing what you do. That's not
Mhm.
an impersonal place. It is a
Right.
personal place.
And a
And
lot of
when
times we spend more time with the people we work with than our own
Oh, for sure.
families,
Within our own
you know.
children, for sure,
Mhm,
for sure. And
mhm.
that's why that byline of we have to embrace stewardship. Leadership is about stewardship and understanding that when people come to whatever their employment is, what they're saying is, boss, here's 80% of my life.
Mhm.
What do you want to
Yeah,
do with that? Your answer can't be get your ass to work. It's got to be something deeper than that, more
right.
meaningful. It doesn't mean you're social with them. It doesn't mean there's employee of the month events, all those. It's not about all that. It's about, do you trust me? Right? Do I trust you? Do we respect each other? Do we understand each other? Right? Can I help you grow as a professional? Can I help you grow as a person? All those fundamental dynamics, that's where loyalty lives. And when people
Mhm.
say, think of a leader in your past you've been loyal to, it's never been because they had great Excel spreadsheets or they were a great engineer. It was never their technical ability. It's because of the way that person engaged them. They pushed when you needed pushing. They stopped pushing when it was time. They disappeared when they needed to be gone. And they were there for you when they needed you. That's what leaders have to bring.
I love that. There's a saying that, what's the difference, how do you know if your team needs a pat on the back or a kick in the pants? And what's the difference between the two? Well, it's about 12 inches.
Well, yeah, but knowing the difference is key. So, it's not about, look, we have to be technically competent. Of course we do.
Mhm.
Right? Like we have to be inspiring as leaders. But I even tell people now, but look, if you're going to pick a heart surgeon, you want the most competent heart surgeon. You don't
Right.
care if he's inspiring, but the nurses that work for that surgeon, those nurses want that surgeon to be inspiring and not just
Right.
be technically competent, right? So it's that balance of technical competence. We have to be good at our jobs, whatever our jobs are, right? But I want people to have an environment where when people say, I love my job, they're talking about their boss and they're
Mhm.
talking about their coworkers. They're not talking about their desk or their laptop. They're not talking about that, right? They're talking about the environment they're in. Who's responsible for that environment? The leader's responsible for that
I
environment.
love it. I love
Full
it.
stop.
And that's the name of the book. Everything is business. And then it says, but everything is
It's personal.
personal and embracing stewardship in the workplace and every place. So it's great to know, like, this is who this book is for. Tell us a little bit more about what you do. How can people get involved with you, work with you? all that good stuff?
Well, Melanie, we do keynotes, we speak at conferences. Now I hope to do, book signings and book things as well. We do everything from half-day presentations, full-day retreats for leaders, 2-3 day retreats. We build enterprise-wide programs. We've done that for Marriott, for some of the best hotel companies in the world. And none of it's cookie cutter, though. Sure, we have some fundamental things. We love to work with MBTI and DISC and some of those assessments. In fact, we're going to give away a free MBTI assessment for those that come and engage us and buy the book. But it's not just that. It's when somebody asks, well, what do you do, or what can you do for our organization? My first question is, well, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And sometimes what they think they need isn't what because some companies think they have a training problem. They don't realize they have a recruiting problem, or they don't realize it. So, the first part of this thing we do is we got to go into a discovery mode of have real, honest, transparent conversations about, where the success points are, not just pain points. What are you good at? What are you struggling with? Right? How do we elevate your leadership? Right? How do we make it different, not just for the people that work for that person? So that takes a lot of different forms, right? We're proud that we have so many repeat clients that we've worked with for years and years and years. And but sometimes we build a program and leave it behind, and then we do a train the trainer model. So we'll train their HR director or their operation people, and we'll train them to present the program, and we'll come back and refresh it sometimes. So it takes a lot of different forms, actually. But there's not one thing that we do.
Mm-hmm. I love
but it's
it.
always about leadership, and it's always about guest experience.
And you talked about also assessment. It's really important for people to know where they are, what they need, because not everybody, people think, like you said, they think they know. When you ask most managers or owners, they're like, oh, everything's great, everyone loves me. And then you ask the team or the employees, and they're all like, no, you're out of touch, and you need this assessment, or you need this training. So tell us about your free gift and the assessment that you're offering today.
Well, we've got a little, it's based on the MBTI. It's not a full-on MBTI, because those are time consuming and expensive, but we've got for somebody to have a pretty good understanding of what they bring to the table as far as their personality goes, right? Am I extroverted or introverted or feeling or thinking, or all these kinds of dynamics? And it's one thing to understand what you prefer. It's another thing to understand what the people that work for you prefer, right? Right. So, and we all get this. Like some people love the stage. They love the applause. You know what I want most from you, boss? If I do something well, bring me in front of the company and give me. Other people hate that, right? So that's that idea that we talk about in the book as well, is reversing the golden rule, right? The old golden rule doesn't work. You can't treat everybody the way you want to be treated. That's selfish. You got to treat people the way they want to be treated. And leaders get to know their people and understand what they're all about. And sometimes those kinds of assessments can help do that. Because we always say the paradox of self-awareness is you can't be self-aware by yourself.
Oh, I love that. Right? You can't be self-aware by yourself.
You have we all have a self-image, but you
we
can
all
say
have gaps. We have gaps, and I love that saying too. Like, you can't read a label if you're inside the jar.
I like that. Yeah.
And you have to have sometimes an outside perspective, and I think as a leader too, you sometimes have to take yourself out of your own ego and personality and look at it from a third party and observe your behavior, your actions, how things are landing. You think you're saying something a certain way, you don't realize how it's landing with people. And people are everybody's wired differently. So some people are triggered by different things than others. And so it can be a very confusing landscape. And I see this a lot with companies that are going from being a solopreneur to a CEO. There's a big gap in that space. Then there's smaller mom and pops that are growing into corporations. And then there's obviously the larger corporations. And in your world of hospitality, I mean, it's one of the biggest changing markets out there in the travel industry, and trying to understand, how do you connect with guests? How do you motivate your team? How do you stay competitive in a constantly changing landscape? It's awesome what you're doing. I'm super excited and just proud to be on this journey with you. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you
I'm so
much,
happy
Melanie.
for you.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, good. And so if you want to reach out to Lewis, so do you have a email, website? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you and get that
The
little
best
mini
way I know put
assessment?
the break is I actually developed a little organization, and we'll have a portal, but I have an email that's part of the book. So
Mhm.
Lewis Roden, LOUISRODEN at everythingispersonal.org.
Okay,
Right,
I love it.
is a great email, a great way to reach me. They can also, my company is Inspire Consulting Group. So Inspire LSC, which
Mhm.
stands for Inspire Leadership and Consulting. So they can get me through the website as well. But really, a direct email, Lewis Roden at everything is personal.org is perfect.
Okay, perfect. We're going to put that down below as well for you
Awesome.
guys to just click on right away. Thank you so much, Lewis. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
being here and
Happy
for
to be here.
taking this journey. I'm so
Of course.
proud of you, so excited, and so happy that you now can pre-sell your books.
I know.
Right now,
Very exciting.
you just had somebody that literally bought 450 copies of your book
Yep.
the other day. Like that was amazing. And because you add so much value to these organizations, especially when you're doing corporate books, you get a lot of people that will buy thousands of copies for their entire organization and stuff like
You
that.
bet.
So that's awesome. Great job. Very proud of you. Good luck and
Thank you.
keep us posted on your progress.
Will do.
Very good job.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you. Didn't mean to mute myself here. I don't know what happened. Okay, so next up, we have Princella Stringer. Princella, come on up. Congratulations.
Hello,
And
thank you so much.
hi, I love your background. That is so beautiful. Very
Thank
colorful.
you.
And also your book cover. So tell us a little bit about you and your own defining moment, something that's kind of happened in your life that made you end up here today with us.
Yeah, I would love to share that. Well, first of all, my work background was in retail management and in HR. In both of those, I really got to know people a lot. That's what got me good at my role, was connecting with people, understanding people. What was a challenge for me, though, was understanding how I operated in the world, how I achieved goals. It was great to support others in that, but then how was I going to step into bigger shoes that I knew I was capable of doing? And my defining moment was really noticing how I'm an emotional person. You know, not everybody would call themselves emotional, or we hide from our emotions. I decided to own it because, frankly, it was kind of hard to hide, to be honest with you. And so the more I got comfortable with that, the more I started to understand that these feelings I have are important and real. And the most defining moment for me was when I decided to leave the workforce, and I realized that I was having topical issues on my skin due to stress. I was starting to feel anxiety in my chest. I was starting to really get choked up when I wanted to use my voice. And they were all getting clearer and clearer and stronger signs that something needed to change. Fast forward, I still wasn't ready to take action on what I needed to do to change. Fast forward, my father passed away. And when a loved one crosses over to the afterlife, or what happens, you realize how precious every day is, and living a life that brings happiness and joy becomes a much greater priority in life. And that's when I started to make a change.
Absolutely. I mean, no day is promised. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. And, and then I'm happy and proud of you that you were able to turn all of that into something positive for yourself and being able to make an impact on other people. So thank you for sharing that. And I love what you said about embracing your emotions, because a lot of times as women, we're kind of, men were raised, don't show your emotion, it's weakness. And now women are coming into the workforce in droves and taking on these jobs that a lot of men had, and they're absorbing the stress, the anxiety, the pressure, and understanding and appreciating how, men have had these high stress jobs for so long. And now it's like we're kind of being told the same thing. You're just supposed to suck it up and don't get emotional and don't be a woman, that kind of thing. We hear that all the time. So this is refreshing to hear somebody say it's okay, number one. And number two, celebrating those emotions, because it is part of what makes us human. And as
Absolutely.
And in this world of AI and where everything is going to technology, where people think emojis are real emotions, that's kind of scary. Where they're getting rid of journalism degrees and giving social media degrees, like that line of like what's real and what's imagined is starting to blur. And it's like,
Absolutely.
if we stuff our feelings and don't even allow ourselves to feel things, then are we still human, right? When you really think
Yeah.
about it.
And speaking of stuffing our feelings, what usually ends up happening is that when we don't allow ourselves to first accept that we're emotional, and not everybody is, right? Not everybody feels like they want to cry at certain things, but they have other emotions that may come out, anger, unhappiness, tension in the room, and things like that. And so when we suppress those things, they end up coming out in unhealthy ways, and we end up kind of isolating ourselves from others and making connections with others. So the sooner we can accept them, then we can respond to them in a healthy manner that can give us fuel in life to what we want to achieve.
Absolutely. I remember I had a mentor that said, if somebody triggers you, see them as a blessing because they're showing you something about yourself that you may not like or something that you may be avoiding. And it's bringing something out that's meant to shine light. Just like if there's an ailment in your body or literally a pain in your butt or pain in your neck, it's meant to show you that there's some dis-ease or something going on internally. So when somebody else triggers something outside of us, it's meant to show us something about ourselves that's not in alignment in the world that we think it is. So those are things that I think are so helpful. I mean, whether it's an individual or a small business, it's just important to have self-awareness. And I think a lot of people are struggling with emotional intelligence. I mean, I think that's something I've experienced with you, that you have an amazing depth of emotional intelligence, and you have this ability to communicate what you want and what you need with people. And you can help other people learn how to do that. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your book. Like, who's this book for? What made you want to write this book, and what was that process like for you?
Yes, yes. So one of the things that I started to learn too is that we hear this term a lot, like type A personality, right? And I started to feel like, gosh, most of the people that are really successful are like type A personalities. They go, go, go and get it. And I'm thinking, well, what am I? How would I be classified? And I learned that there's type A personality and type B personality. Type A, very common, we know, or it's talked about more often. Type B are people that are maybe a little more passive, easygoing, kind of go with the flow of things. Both sides of the coin can be impacted by not finding balance, which hence the name of my book, The Unified Way. And when we find balance, that's when we're responding in a healthy way, in a healthy manner. Type B people may not go after their goals, as much as a type A person. So both are finding an imbalance. And I noticed that with my book, I had a conversation yesterday with someone who is a corporate lawyer, works around men, and has had to put on her masculine front much stronger most of her corporate career. And she says, the timing of your book is amazing because I just started recognizing this imbalance that I have. So although it's written from a more feminine perspective, wanting to bring in more masculine, our viewers that are living in a more masculine modality in life and in business or in work can learn to infuse more of those into their life. And I also noticed that there weren't many people talking about the side that, if you live in a more feminine energy, more creative and more, dreaming about what could be, and so I wanted to have a book that really catered to both sides of the coin.
I love that because a lot of times the masculine energy is associated with doing and driving and being the boss. And if you're a woman, I know I run into that as a woman, like as a CEO, as a woman, sometimes that clashes with male energy. If you're working with men, like sometimes they're not used to working for a powerful woman or like collaborating with women. And so you have to adjust that a little bit. Or if you're in a personal relationship and you're maybe the dominant driver at work, then you have to be able to tap into that sensitive, emotional, feminine side in order to balance your relationship at home. And
Yeah.
for me personally, that was a big struggle, like trying to figure out how that worked because I would clash with other men, sometimes in the workforce or in relationships. And I didn't know how to understand, like I was such a doer. I didn't understand that the feminine energy is really just about being. It's just how you
Right.
show up and your vulnerability and that strength. And I felt like that male energy was like, don't be, don't be vulnerable because it's a sign of weakness. And we're kind of taught that growing up. For if you're a man, you're supposed to have no feelings. And if you're a woman, you're going to be an emotional wreck, PMSing all day. And we put these ridiculous labels on what that energy looks like. And I love how you've tied this in such a respectful way for people to really understand and define what that means for themselves, and then see and like just be conscious of it, of how they're showing up. And so it's awesome.
That's
I am
right.
so excited that you have this out there. So how are you using this book to kind of connect with people, and what is a way that they could get involved and work with you if they want to understand how to balance that energy better?
Right. If they go to princellastringer.com, you can learn how to stay connected with me. I also have an amazing offer that I'm so happy to offer, because what really helped me along this path was not only learning the exercises and steps that I needed to take, there was also some work after those exercises, like taking that first step to doing something big. And I started realizing, gosh, I'm doing the work. What's making it still challenging to take that next step forward? And so I learned about hypnosis. Hypnosis has been a wonderful tool for my clients and for myself in being able to retrain and rewire my brain on my belief system within my own body. This works very well for masculine energy as well. Does it feel safe to bring in more feminine into the room? And how do I feel safe within my own body? Hypnosis is really helpful with that. So I am offering, with the purchase of a book, then we will do a 30-minute hypnosis session together as well.
I love that. I love that. I'm a huge fan of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I almost got my master's in clinical therapy like 100 years ago. And I learned it years and years ago. And it's such a fantastic thing, because if you have negative and positive associations, which we all do with anything, childhood wounds or whatever, that make us come across a certain way, the beauty of hypnosis is that you literally can go directly into the subconscious brain, and you can change something from a positive to a negative association like that could usually take years of therapy. So it's a really great like shortcut and tool, but it's also science based. It's not like too many times we've seen these hypnotherapists out there on stages going, sleep now, and then somebody's barking like a chicken, or whatever. It's like barking like a chicken. I mean, but the thing is, when you start to really, develop it and dive deeper, it's such an amazing thing. And so I know that there's people that have mixed feelings about it all, but if you can, especially those type A controlling kind of people, it's like, I don't want anybody in my head. You know what? Guess what? You got people in your head anyways. They're living in your head, and they're renting space in your head,
Right.
and they're
That's
affecting your ability to grow your business, your relationships, have the health that you want. All of these things are internal blocks that can easily be resolved, but there needs to be the awareness, and then there needs to be that modality of safety and having a safe space. So I love that you're doing that. That's
right.
awesome.
Both my book and to have hypnosis be really successful as well. Both of them, you have to have an open mind and recognize that something needs to change. And once you
Mhm.
recognize something needs to change, that openness and exploring what is going to work. Now, hypnosis isn't for everyone, but if you're open to it and are exploratory in that way and willing to try, you have to be at that point where you're like, enough is enough. I am ready to do something different, and be open to that. And that's when it could be really, really powerful. So
I
thank
love
you
it.
for the interview and being able to share about my personal joy and what I got in using these techniques and modalities, and how much it's helped people that I've worked with.
That's so awesome. Congratulations, by the way, on just getting your book done and getting it out there. You did a beautiful job. I love the cover. I just love what you're doing. And I know it's going to really impact a lot of people. So take advantage of this, you guys. You have these amazing thought leaders on here today that have committed their time and their gifts to you, out of appreciation for being part of this launch, and being able to support them and getting their books. Like the ebooks are only 99 cents today. Like that's amazing. The print books, I think Tinsley's book is still under $10. So all of the books are discounted just for the launch. So take advantage. If you are watching these back later, the pricing may be a little different. Just full disclaimer. And if you want to understand the journey of what they all went through and you're interested in writing your own book, you can also go to our website, mydefiningmoments.com, fill out an application. We can take a quick assessment, figure out what kind of book you want to write, where you're at, and then walk you through that process and do a demo of what would it look like for you. Just like everybody that you have met here today. And we have one more. Don't forget, we have one more coming up. You'll be able to go through this understanding of what does it take to write a book, get it published. How do you market your book? Because writing, it's only 10% of the journey. Marketing is 90%. And as Princella and Lewis and Tinsley and Laural, like as you're hearing about them, maybe you see yourself in them a little bit and think like, I've been having this idea. It's kind of been this itch and now it's becoming more and more prominent. Like I have to get this book out of me. This is what we want to help you do. We want to help you give birth to your little book baby as we're celebrating all of their book babies today and really connecting you with people that can help make a difference in your life. So if you need help in transition in some way, that's really what this company is about. And it's encouraging people to write their books, encouraging speakers to actually write books, and encouraging authors and speakers to actually become the expert in their field and get that knowledge out there in the world. So thank you, Princella, again, for everything that you do, for being here. Appreciate you. I'm going to jump into Laural really quickly. Let me have Laural unmute. And I noticed that she's out there in the trees. Congratulations. I love seeing all those beautiful trees behind you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here. It's exciting.
Oh my gosh, you've been through the ringer trying to get this thing done. I know you've gone back and forth so many times, but just like the tree, just like the growth, the tree will weather the storm. It goes through the seasons and it stands tall. And here you are representing all of these beautiful trees. So Laural, tell us a little bit about you and share, if you would, a defining moment in your life as well.
Oh gosh. The defining moment for me was when I decided to start my company, and that came from a job that I did pruning my neighbor's shrubs. And I went down there, looked at the shrubs, told him I could do it. I hadn't done anything like that before, but I knew I could do it. So I was speaking to him. He left for work. I picked up the book that I was studying. And while I was reading it, I heard a voice in my head, and it said, it was a voice that was in me and all around me. And it said, it's time. And I put down the book, I picked up my Felcos, and I crawled into the bushes. And I sat there under these gorgeous bushes, and all of a sudden I knew what to do. I knew exactly what to do. And that was when I realized this is my passion. This is what I'm meant to do. And that was a defining moment for me, for sure. Working.
I love it. I love it. Just feeling that connection. I mean, and anybody that I found that anytime I'm going through any kind of stress, if I just go outside and get fresh air, I think it was Eckhart Tolle in his book, The Power of Now. He talks about how to be present, just connect with something that's alive, not even a human, but like a tree or a plant or a flower. Like it makes you feel closer to God and the universe. And like you feel like you don't feel small anymore. You feel like you're part of something greater than you.
Yes.
And I'm such a book nerd and I'm such a tree nerd. Like my favorite thing is to sit under a tree and read a good book, right? And just feel that energy of this wisdom around you with these beautiful trees. So I love trees and I love what you're doing. And I love that you had that moment in nature where you felt this, this booming voice say, now's the time, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So now you've gotten into this industry. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and about your book and who it's for.
Okay. So I was a landscape contractor for 26 years. So I have a lot of practical experience on how plants work, how they work with hardscape, how they work with buildings, and how they work with other plants. And that makes a huge difference in what kind of tree you're going to need for your landscape. Every tree has its own needs, its own requirements. And if you don't pay attention to that, you're not going to be as successful. If you pay attention to what a tree really needs and match it to what you already have in your environment, you're way ahead of the game. And so I design now, and I'm not a contractor, but I still design, and I have all that knowledge about what works, what doesn't work, not just on paper, but what really works. And in addition to that, I have this ability to help people connect with a tree or with plants in general, the way that I did under those bushes. It just happens. And I can guide people to what they need, whether they know they need it or not. I can help them figure it out.
I
And
love
the
it.
book, yeah, the book helps too. It's thank you.
Here, and here's your book cover. I know you're on your phone out in nature, so I'm pulling it up right here. Here's your book cover. It's called Choosing Your Perfect Tree, Tips from a Landscape Designer with Laural Roaldson. Thank you so much. This is awesome. And I mean, I've never been a gardener. I have a brown thumb, right? I'm so bad with plants because I travel. I'm like, okay, my kids and pets are still alive. That's good. I'm doing good. But something else has to go, and it's usually the plants. And I was so proud of myself because I actually kept this little succulent from the pandemic that we created as client gifts back then. And it's this like tiny little succulent. It says something like COVID sucks, SUCCS. And so I've managed to keep this little tiny plant alive for now 4 years. Like, I'm proud of myself. And then lilies and different things. So I've been experimenting. And this weekend we just got sunflowers, giant sunflowers we planted in the front that are going to grow so big in the next month or so. And they're going to yield like all these pounds of sunflower seeds. So for a
Yeah.
teenage boy and his friends who are outside a lot, that would be kind of fun. So I'm learning about their seasonal plants. You know, there's certain plants you don't want to plant because of the roots that could destroy your pipes, like based on
Right.
your native environment, and not only aesthetically, but the ones that are easier based on your lifestyle. So I think that's why
Yes.
people can feel intimidated and overwhelmed by all of this stuff. So what would be your number one tip, I guess, like for somebody who's just kind of getting into like landscaping? What would you recommend for somebody that's just starting out?
I would recommend that they find out what plant zone they are in. There's the USDA plant zones, or there's the sunset plant zones, which are great for California in particular. And find out what zone you're in. Based on your zone, then all your plant choices follow.
I love
And
that because I'm in
yeah,
an area, especially in California. I mean, we have 100-degree variance in temperature where, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be 120 and it could get down to 20 degrees. So, you know, you have to have plants that are going to sustain that before you plant them and understand, just because they sell plants in this area doesn't mean they're necessarily going to survive and thrive in that area. So that's a
absolutely.
great tip. I love that. So who is your book for? Is it for enthusiasts? Is it for consumers, business owners? Like who did you write this book for?
I wrote this book for somebody who has a landscape project, or they're thinking about doing a project and they're not really sure where to start. And in addition to wanting to have good guidance, step-by-step guidance, which is in the book, there's also the added element of connection. It's listening to your heart. It's the things that Princella was talking about, and how to stay connected with that. Because when you make decisions based on both the practical and the spiritual, you get the best decisions. And
I
it's
love
true
it.
in life, and it's true in a landscape.
Absolutely. There's such a great metaphor for trees and gardening and as life and growth, because I really believe the secret to life is growth. I mean, we're all growing. And these trees have outlived all of us. So they know something. We're all trying to save the trees, and the trees are perfectly taking care of themselves. Like they're sustaining everything. They survive wildfires and winters and things that we can't even imagine as humans. So it's inspiring to see how many humans are involved in actually creating new life for trees as well, and protecting them and and um and just celebrating. Like I was in New York City last week, and we were filming our TV show, and I was shocked. We were filming at Central Park. And I mean, I've been to New York, I've been to Central Park, but just to walk around and really see how they created this beautiful space in the middle of this huge city where
Yeah.
as soon as you walk in, I mean, there's no place you can go in New York and get rid of the noise, but you can literally go into Central Park and feel like you're in a completely different world even right in the middle of one of the busiest cities on the planet with
Well,
like
you
constant noise everywhere. And the
are
trees
physically
protect
there.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful. And the trees are they absorb the noise and everything. So it's so important to have that nature and have that ability and that openness with trees. And I'm a huge fan of them. So I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm so happy for you. And tell us a little bit more about like how people can work with you, or if you have a free gift that you want to talk about today for people who do get your book. Let us know
Yes.
a little bit more about that.
So in the book is a free gift. It's 20-minute consultation to discuss your project and see what direction you want to take it and how I can assist you with that. You can also email me at lauralgardendesigns@gmail.com, and we can communicate that way as well. It's about what you need. It's about what you need and how that's going to work with your environment that you have.
I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. Is there anything else you want to share with the viewers? Any other tips you want to give them about your journey? I mean, what was this like having this book idea and then actually getting it out of you and extracting all of this beautiful knowledge and inspiration that you had? What was that like for you to just to get this done and get this book finished? And what has that meant to you to have it out in the world now?
It means a lot. And it was difficult for me because I had a hard time with the process. Process is fantastic. It's spot on. And the next book that I write, it'll be much easier for me to do so. Um, it I'm eternally grateful that you have this program, that I decided to do it, even though it was difficult. It was what I needed as a person. And I am really happy that the book will be able to help somebody else connect with nature, to help them become calmer in themselves, more centered, more peaceful. And trees are the perfect companion to do that. So I would
Oh.
suggest, I would suggest that if you're looking for peace in your life, spend time with trees.
Oh my gosh, I want to go hug my trees right now. Like I love you. And here's the thing. Thank you for saying that because, writing a book is a transformational experience. And you're a best-selling author. Congratulations. All of our authors
Thank you.
today are best-selling authors too. And that's the thing, like you have to become the person who wrote the best-selling book. And I think
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people get stuck. They don't know what to write about. They don't know the process. They don't know the strategy. And, I did it the backwards, uncomfortable, horrific, crazy way that took me years and years of making a lot of mistakes with my first book. And I think that's why I went into publishing, because I just have such a passion for helping, just the way you're passionate about trees. I'm
Yeah.
so passionate about helping people get all of this wisdom out of them that they paid such a heavy price to learn the hard way, the expensive way, and really shorten that journey for their readers, right? To really give people that experience. So someone could come in here and know nothing about trees and instantly plug into your knowledge and create this beautiful life and landscape that they want, and do it
Yep.
as like quicker than they think, because people think, oh, I can't have mature trees for years. And I have friends that spent $25,000 per palm tree and had to have them helicoptered in to their beautiful home on the bluffs because they couldn't drive them there. And it was just so expensive. And it was like, but they were full grown palm trees. So it's like,
Yeah.
there's inexpensive ways to do it. You can literally start with some seeds and some water and some sun and some soil
Yeah.
and a little bit of love, and there's different ways that you can go like and build that dream landscaping environment, even if, and this is what I'm fascinated with, even if you live in a subdivision or a building in Japan, like they are literally building rooftop gardens as a co-op where everybody in the building contributes and they grow their own food. Like it's just
Wow.
amazing to me what's happening in the world of landscaping and irrigation and gardening and things like that. And so, there's different things between like planting trees, regenerating trees, pruning them, like all the things you need to know to keep them healthy and happy, as well as starting from scratch. I
It's
know
all in
when
the book.
well, and I will say that when I had an experience where I lost a son And there was something so healing and cathartic about planting a tree in his honor and now watching that tree thrive and grow all these years. It just represents what he didn't get to do. And for some reason in my heart as a mom, it inspired me to like want to do that for other people. And that's one of the gifts that I like giving others is trees and planting in memory of people, or giving plants instead of flowers when someone passes
Yes.
away, because the plant represents new life and growth, as opposed to flowers that just might die. And, and then you're just like, oh, I feel terrible. I just gave them flowers and now they represent that death that they just experienced all over again of something beautiful
Yes.
that died. Um,
So that's why
so
you want to have a good understanding of your environment and making decisions that are going to last, that you're going to have success with. And do your homework first. And
absolutely.
then make your decisions. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for you, and I know this is going to change a lot of people's lives. So you've got this great consult with one of the masterminds of plants out there and trees out there in the world, and landscaping as a whole. It's like a dance between all of these
Yes.
beautiful living things. So knowing how to do that, it doesn't have to be intimidating. It can be so rewarding, no matter whether you're busy or you're retired or you're a student or you're aging and taking a tree with you when you go to a retirement home. Like there's so many different things you can do to keep nature with you wherever you are. And so I love what you're doing. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for writing this book. I'm excited
Oh,
for you.
thank you. And
A-
I'm doing speaking engagements. So if
Yay!
anybody's interested in that, I'd be happy to come.
So if you need a keynote speaker in this world as a landscape designer, like home shows, things like that, that's a perfect example of where you could utilize this better. So thank you so much, Laurel. Is there anything else you
Thank
want
you.
to add for our listeners or viewers today?
If you have any idea that you want to write a book, just even a small one, do it. It'll be one of the best things you do for yourself. It is a fabulous growth experience. It's really great. And Defining Moments is a really good company to do it with.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's been a joy and an honor to be on this journey with you and with all of these amazing authors that you guys have met. Isn't this incredible, you guys? We have hundreds of people exactly like this. So I want you to be able to plug in, to come to our company and our website at mydefiningmoments.com. If there's anything you need, any type of support or mentor or course or book, it's all right there. And we want to celebrate you and help you get through that outcome in your own life, whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your business, your finances. We have been through it. There is somebody else who's walked that path. You don't have to walk that journey alone. And we just want you to meet yourself where you're at and be able to find these experts, all the people that you've met here today that have such inspiring stories, that have been through the ringer and have come out the other side in one piece and are here to share their wisdom, their wealth of knowledge, their inspiring journey with you, and also the knowledge and information that you need to help yourself get through to that next level. Some of you, maybe you just need something that's just going to get you over that hump. It's going to get you to that next level. And others of you, maybe this is something you've been praying for, or you feel so connected to that you're trying so hard to find an answer for something. And there's somebody out there that's already got that solution for you, that they've walked through that. So that's what we really wanted to create here at Defining Moments. And this is what a lot of our books are about, a lot of nonfiction. We do memoirs, recipe books, all kinds of things, but mostly expertise, because we want to give you real life solutions. So these are real problems in the world that are being solved by real people just like you. And we just want to celebrate that, help you have the platform, help you plug in and find the people that need that resource as well. So if you need help in that process, visit mydefiningmoments.com. Fill out a quick application. You can see the link below as well. Again, want to celebrate all of our authors today: Tinsley, Lewis, Princella, Laural. Thank you so much for being with us today. So excited for all of you. And thank you all for being here and supporting these amazing authors and their special deals today during their launch, and celebrating these little book babies that have now launched into the world. Congratulations on all of our authors and our bestsellers, and can't wait to see what you guys do. And thanks again for being here with us. We will see you next time. I'm Melanie Warner from Defining Moments signing off. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.